that would also speak after me and to others that will also listen. Um, Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be here with you. I'm also thanking Mr. Aki as well for, you know, bringing us together to discuss this topic because it's actually a wonderful one. So the topic is actually interesting because we often receive updates on social media about people we know who are leaving their old jobs for new and better opportunities. Some individuals might have spent more than 5 years in their previous positions. This raises the important questions, which is what happened? Why did they leave? Was there stress in the job, or was it related to their compensation? Oftentimes, we don't even know the actual reasons behind these departures. So why are people leaving? Why are actually people, not staying much in the organization? To be frank with you all, many IT professionals who are leaving are experienced individuals who have invested significant effort into their work. The negligence of IT teams can severely compromise an organization's security posture, exposing it to various threats and vulnerabilities. This negligence can stem from multiple factors, including excessive workload, inadequate compensation, organizational politics, untrained staff, flawed processes, poor leadership, and inefficient organization structure. So we'll be looking at the key causes of IT team negligence and have itemized it to be of just 5 in number. So the first one is the lack of awareness and training. Without regular and comprehensive training, IT staff may not be fully aware of the latest security threats and best practices. This can lead to mistakes and oversight. That's why we keep on having most of them making these mistakes whenever they are given any positions or whenever they are given any tasks to do. So the next one is the high workload and stress. IT teams face high workload and tight deadlines, which can result in shortcuts and overlooked security measures. Stress and burnout can further aggravate these issues. So most of the IT individuals or staff working in organizations or some organizations, by virtue of the work and what they do or their job description, most of them actually fall sick based on the performance measures that they are being weighed on. So everybody wants to try as much as possible to do a lot of things to make sure that, these issues will not come out at the end of their appraisal or whatever. And at the end of the day, it burns them out. And that's why most of them actually fall sick, even before the end of the quarter or before the end of the year. So we have inadequate resources. Limited budgets and resources can prevent IT teams from implementing necessary security measures or keeping up with the latest technology and updates. How do we, factor of the processes that are regarding towards budgets in an office where you find out people, actually having issues when it comes to the inability to use some certain technology tools, and you want to factor budgets in implementing that, this amount of staff that are having defaults in using these tools should go for training. This is also an issue. So we have poor communication. Lack of clear communication and collaboration between IT and other departments can result in security policies not being properly enforced and followed. I think that should be self-explanatory. So we have the last one on the list, which is low salaries. Inadequate compensation can lead to decreasing motivation and high turnover rates, affecting the overall effectiveness of the IT team. So addressing these issues requires a proactive approach, including ongoing training, adequate resources allocation, stress management initiatives, and fostering a culture of security awareness and accountability. So that brings us now to what I call the 3 phases of the cybersecurity framework, which is the people, the technology, and the policies. It's more like a triangle, and in each angle of the triangle, you can decide to put people, technology, policy. So it doesn't really matter. You could even do it the other way by putting technology, people, policy. So it doesn't really matter. You must follow it the way it is. But the main important thing is that triangle is formed. Why is that triangle formed? The triangle is formed because everything that affects each of the angles of the triangle affects the shape of the triangle. If you decide to in your organization where you find yourself, decide to place more, interest on just people on alone, and then abandon the policy and the technology, then that organization would, have issues when it comes to performance of people who are giving tax, and also when it comes to security, because we are also looking at the security aspect as well. So in cybersecurity, the people, technology, and policy framework is essential in creating the comprehensive defense strategy. So for people, we know that they are most critical elements in cybersecurity. This includes not only IT and security professionals, but all employees within an organization. So human error is a leading cause of security breaches. Ensuring that all employees are aware of security best practice and potential threats is crucial. So regular training is needed, because as it is, every year we keep on having new innovations in IT. We have innovations in most of the tools we use in our organization. We also have innovations of ways of solving problems, most especially when it comes to the defensive part of IT, when it comes to the cybersecurity perspective aspect. So there is need for training, because every day hackers or people going through the internet and keep looking for vulnerabilities, keep looking for loopholes to how to bypass some applications or some tools. So if you don't actually train most of your staff, obviously there's opportunity for most of them to see it as a problem, and then most of them will try to go, and you cannot blame them. Actually, you cannot blame them, because everybody is actually, even if I want to use this word, you are actually working for the money, So anywhere you go and then you see that you're not being paid or you're underpaid, and then you see an opportunity to move on, you would go. Okay, so regular training and awareness program help employees recognize and respond to threats like phishing attacks. Skilled security professionals are also needed to manage and respond to incidents efficiently. So we have the technology aspect on which I introduced earlier on, which provides the tools and systems that protect against cyber threats and support security practices. So advanced technologies like the firewall, we have the IDS, the intrusion detection system, and the encryption are critical for defending against sophisticated attacks. So investing in up-to-date technology and integrating it with existing processes and people is crucial. Technologies should be chosen based on the organization's specific needs and risk profile. So you can't just decide to just go into the field and then try to get a tool that you're not, there's no need for it to be purchased. Why are you doing that? You're also wasting money. So every tool that is needed to purchase in an organization should be basically on how the structure of the organization is designed. You understand? So we have the policies as well. The policies, there are rules and guidelines that govern how security measures are implemented and maintained. Well-defined policies ensure consistency and compliance with security standards and regulations. They help in managing and mitigating risks. Policies include, we have the what they call it, we have the NIST cybersecurity framework. We also have the ISO, the ISO policy. We also have the policy that is also was implemented by NICTA as well in Nigeria here. So balancing these three elements is key to a strong cybersecurity posture. If one element is weak or neglected, it can compromise the entire security framework. For example, the best technology wouldn't be effective if employees aren't trained to use it properly, and robust policies won't help it if the technology is outdated. So there is need to keep the triangle in shape. And if you're increasing the part of the triangle, every part should be affected so that you have a good triangle when it comes to, having a good cybersecurity framework. Okay, so would I just want to rush because I don't want to take much time, because I know other speakers would also want to add their view on this topic. So I will try to be fast with my presentation. So the last heading of the topic on which I characterize it will be the impacts of the IT negligence. So we'll be looking at some case studies. Okay, I remember there was a time in 2020 where we have SolarWinds attack, and then it reflects how a lack of diligence in security practice can lead to significant breaches affecting thousands of organizations. And then the impact was the poor structure. So, sorry, the impact was the poor security practices, which led to the unauthorized access to sensitive information, causing data breaches. That is just basically just for SolarWinds in 2020. Now also a case study we should look at, the one that affects us in Nigeria here, where we had the information of CrowdStrike, on which there was a what's it called? There was an update that was released, and then it affected, which it was a wrong update, and then it affected it affected the airline industry, it affected the education industry. So most industries regarding to solving problems were also affected. And then at the end of the day, they had to remove or find a way to delete, manually troubleshoot the issue, and then they had to, give a detailed step with regarding to removing the updates from each or individual system. So that is also an issue where you find out that they are actually, the impact is being felt. Okay, I think 2-3 days ago, the EFCC themselves actually arrested about I think 4 individuals who were actually working with some bank officials to actually fraud some persons, based on their bank transactions. So these issues will always be there. Why are people actually not performing well according to their the way they are being paid? Or why are people always complaining that, okay, yes, we are being paid this amount of money, do we need to perform better, or do we need to just find opportunities to get other places? And if we don't even see opportunities in getting other places to apply, do we need to still claim to be an agent of insider threat? So all these things are issues, and I know that our speakers, on which they would also speak after me, would be able to, settle most of our doubts. So I will also conclude by saying that the negligence of IT teams can have a profound impact on an organization structures or organization security posture, leading to increased vulnerabilities, data breaches, financial losses, reputational damage, operational disrupts, and low employee morale. Addressing these issues requires a proactive approach that leads ongoing training, adequate resources allocation, stress management initiatives, and fostering a culture of security awareness and accountability. By balancing the elements of people, technology, and policies, organizations can create a robust cybersecurity framework that effectively mitigates risk and enhance overall security. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Charles. Oh, thank you so much um, for the knowledge and the insights. Thank you so much. We're very, very grateful for that. And I hope everyone was able to gain one or two things from what from from it. So at the end of the day, please, we're gonna have a question. So if you have a question, just try to jot it down. So at the end, you can ask your question. Yeah. So the next speaker now is Mr. Adede Jobe. So Mr. Adede Jobe, you can take over, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Mr. Aki, and thank you once again for this opportunity. So very quickly, I'm coming. I want to share
Oh, okay,
a
wow, okay.
file. I want to share my screen here. So, sorry, I'm coming. Okay, so I don't know if everyone can see my screen security posture.
Sure, we can see it.
Okay. So once again, I'm Adedeji Obi, and I'm a cybersecurity analyst with a strong foundation in threat detection, incident response, and SOC analysis. Also, I work with SIM tools, managing logs and analyzing logs for a better structure of my company and every other company I have to work with on different proposal or different purposes. So on this, we'll be talking about IT negligence, basically in Nigeria and also the worldwide, which I'm going to delve deeper on. And then one thing I've always said most often is, however we might see threats, however we might see vulnerability, however we might see weaknesses in our IT space, humans play a bigger role in this aspect. Like we humans, we are the weakest links when it comes to vulnerabilities, because in every attack that goes on in and out of the internet of the network, we play a role. And it's not about just basically about social engineering. There's not only pertain to that aspect, but like I put on my listing, even like phishing emails or using weak password and everything like that can be seen as human errors. But things like failing to patch your softwares, failing to patch your devices and updating it. This can also lead to some certain kind of error that might affect the whole network. And there's nothing like a small kind of vulnerability, because a small thing can mess up the whole thing in your network. So from the lowest level or the minimal level of things that should be kept private or sensitive things that should be kept secured, everything should be seen as a vulnerable thing that should be kept with utmost security in every aspect. So in our conversation today, there are things that we overlook. We feel like it's just small thing and everything, but we all know in the aspect of every attack, there is a threat like attack life cycle which starts with reconnaissance, which is the aspect whereby these threat actors go by and then try to get things they can use to attack you, like from the smallest to the biggest, looking around for things from the internet to your organization, to your company, to your profile, to anything that links to you. They take their time to go around to look for these things about you as humans or your companies. So with all of this, they'll find the little things you might leak outside for them to see will be what they might use to propose whatever attack they want to propose to your particular network or your company. So humans play a very big role when it comes to attack. And that is why in every aspect of security, before the advent of so many IoT devices, there have been humans, and there have been so many compromises, so many breaches, and so many end of network communication that has happened over time. Even with the use of normal mail system, whereby PO boxes and everything, we still have breaches in that aspect, so which is still human. So even before the advent of so many IoT devices that help us in transferring and communicating in our network, humans has been a problem. And it's like a very serious thing to understand for everyone. So in understanding IT negligence, we'll look at, okay, the best practices we can use to also protect this, how we can prevent this, and how we can also help humans. And one thing I've always made sure we just understand the aspect of user awareness. That is one of the most important thing when you have to manage humans, because there's no like a best way to put, even if you put all security in place like firewalls, like IDS, like IPS, and so on and so forth. However it might be, if the right human are not there to help you manage it very well, all of this will be wasteful. All of this is not going to be important, it's not going to be needed, it's not going to even make any good to you. Some common negligence that we go through oftentimes, like I mentioned earlier, is like patch management. When we don't update our network, update our system, as small as every software on our network or every software on our devices, it needs to be updated as soon as there's any update. Because these developers, they find out over time that whenever there's any weakness, they need to patch or update this particular network or this particular softwares. So if they find a need to bring up a new update, and you as a user, as the end user, you don't find a need to update yourself also, it means you are lacking behind. It might be for any reason. It might be for any reason why they are updating it, but most importantly, for security reasons, you need to always be updated and always update your devices or your softwares or your gadget to the recent or the modern one, so you can stay well secured according to whatever developer or services you are getting from that particular company. And also using of weak passwords. Many companies have password policies, some also some websites, some social media platforms and so on and so forth. They have what we call acceptable use policy and password policy and things like that. So this password policy help us to know the kind of password you can use. But over time, we've seen people also cracking passwords. There's one thing we cannot do without, which are these threat actors, that's hackers, whichever means they might come, black hats and any other ones. We can't do without them in our society every day. They will always be part of what's in our society. But how do we help ourselves to stay safe and stay secured? We've always heard about cracking of password, breaking password and everything into our personal file, personal data, or our social media pages and so on and so forth. So the use of stronger password and use of a strong password policy can help us in so many ways. And there's a pattern whereby you can make your password stronger. We know about alphanumeric and the using of signs and making it longer. The more complex it is, the much more difficult it is for anybody to break into it. There are so many attacks ranging from Hydra down to normal brute force, down to using John the Ripper for different attacks. And with the use of all of this, these cyber threat actors can hack into our network with a weak password. But whereby you make use of a very complex password, alphanumeric, capital letter, numbers, digit, alphabets, and then using of signs and making it so long, at least more than at least 10. This is going to help your whatever you are secure with that particular password to be well and much more secured. And it can also make use of encryption also. Encryption is like a modern way of changing of cipher text to normal text, whereby it is unreadable to cyber threat actors through your way of transmitting, because we know what we call man in the middle attack, which are like sniffers online that help seize things that we do in between every communication. But once things are being encrypted, it avoids this kind of attack. So over the internet, we don't get people to see these things that they are going to see and then have it against us or use it against us or our company or our network. So the aspect of encryption can be very much important to us. And then after putting, like I've said, even if you put all of like firewalls in place, like IDS in place, and different type of softwares and services in place to help you secure your network, with not having the right human being to help you watch it, it's going to fail you. And that's where we come with continuous monitoring and detecting of whatever is weak in your network. So this comes in two ways. One, you always have to monitor these things you put in place. Check it if it's still working actively well. Check if all the reports from it are working very well. Check if everything you need it to do, they are doing it very well also. And then secondly, is it giving you the results you want to get from it? If it's not giving you what you want to get from it, then you might need to like probably change it or advance it or something like that. So these are the things you have to always continue monitoring these devices. Cyber security as a thing is not a product, it's a process. It's not a product whereby you just produce and then this is a result. It's a continuous process whereby you have to continue to update yourself, to match the skill, to update with the whole industry and go on like that. So the aspect of cyber security from the physical down to the cyberspace is never a product, but a process whereby we have to continue with, update ourselves with, and never just feel like we are good or we are good enough. We can also make use of these hackers, whereby we call them like pen testers, to help us test our network, our service, our system, and our devices. By so doing, they can give us a report of the weaknesses we have in those networks, the loopholes and the vulnerabilities, by which we can help us strengthen our network as for like after their reports, it can help us strengthen our network and get better. This is like a continuous process you have to continue with to get better in your own network too. So we talk about the consequences of this IT negligence. And the number one thing we know about is what? It is financial loss. However it might be, from the little to the smallest, you might have to replace something, you might have to update it, you might have to pay for whatever loss has happened and so on and so forth. Financial loss is the biggest consequences from every type of IT negligence. And moving on from there, we have data breaches. When the data is being breached, we know what can happen: exposure of your company's data, of sensitive data, of things that are very critical to your companies. These things can be exposed to cyber threat actors, and by so doing, it's not going to help your company in any way to advance, because these losses lead to what we mean by losses lead to different things to your company. And so moving to the next, which is regulatory fines. There are different standards, different bodies, and different policies that have been put in place by the government, by some private companies, and by some registered federal government companies that help us to watch whatever we do in different bodies, in different industries we find ourselves in. So if you find yourself falling into one of these old consequences, it can lead to regulatory fines that you have to pay, which also takes us back towards loss, financial loss also. And I think even if you feel like you're not losing anything, one thing that I think most Nigerian industries or companies think they don't lose is reputation. This is a very critical thing that most companies don't feel like they are losing in Nigeria, because when you feel like you're the number one on board, however you attend to your customers or you give your services out, you are the number one and your reputation will not be damaged. Unlike like the Zenith Bank thing that happened, I think 2, 3 weeks ago about their whole website and their this thing being down for a while. They just came and said, okay, all this is going on and everything. But this thing brings put up a face whereby every other person would have seen and heard about this particular bank. They have an issue with their service and then they don't know how to handle it very well. And the one that happened, I think, with UBA Bank, their website being ransomware also, I think months ago, thereabouts. They felt like their website is not being used for any kind of transaction. But it is also linked to your company. It has your company name, which is your company's website. So if you don't think that anything linked to it is anything like financial that is linked to it, it is also kind of your reputation. So that reputation damage means a whole lot. Having to hear that, okay, fine, this company was hacked. It's not a good thing for a company standard, for their reputation. It's never a good thing to probably think of or probably try to just overlook. So this is one of many consequences, or few of many consequences we have in IT negligence. And moving on from there, we'll talk about the continuation of IT negligence. Like I've said, many of these things, like even the minor oversights can escalate quickly. There's no so much thing that should be overlooked when it comes to security or securing a network. From the smallest to the biggest, every vulnerability means something. Every vulnerability should be well looked at. Fine, there's a thing of what we call vulnerability management and risk management, whereby you can quantify and qualify whatever should be very important, like this asset management also. Whichever assets should be seen higher than the other. So you know which one is critical that you have to attend to first before the other ones. But while also doing that doesn't mean that you should ignore the lower ones that you don't have to probably secure, or the asset, or by asset management, they don't need much more security. If it's in your company, if it is part of your network, if it is linked to you as a person, it has to be kept safe and secured. So very quickly, not to waste our time, this is one of the most common or popular this thing has happened in recent time. Equifax, a major reporting company in the US that deals with credit cards, and when they were breached, people's data were being leaked out to so many people online. And about 147 million people, their data and information were being linked, credit card information were being linked to so many people online, and then it led to so many things for the company. The financial loss was about $700 million. Reputational damage too was part of it, because so many people had to leave Equifax company, and for so many reasons they were trying to like challenge and then get back to their standard again. But it takes time to build that reputation back again after such loss. It takes time. As I say, for like foreign companies or international companies, they know what this thing means to them in the markets. When it comes to Nigeria, like the recent Zenith Bank and EBA Bank, they didn't feel like there's much of a competition or a kind of a market fight they might have to go through with all of these things. They feel like once they have their net, their customers, they already have them. But international space, this is not so. Whenever anything happens to your company, or that leads to anything about the reputation being damaged, customers are affected too. And about this one, looking at customers, this is about 147 million. We have also standards that help us to watch things about finances. We have the PCI DSS. We also have the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. These are like international standard or bodies that help us to watch these things, that this is finance, that this is card, and they have there's so many consequences in that regulation that if you breach, you will pay for it also. So going through this process is not a thing that any company wishes for. Having to go through this kind of process of whenever you are breached, whenever you have an attack in your company that cannot be well managed, is nothing that any company wishes to probably experience at any point in time. So with all of these things, it means that you always have to be well protected, well secured. And the truth is that fine, we all know that security is not fully secured also. security is never fully secured. But irrespective of that, how well are you managing your own networks or your devices? Are you putting risk management procedures in place? Are you putting disaster recovery plans in place? Are you putting incident response plans in place? These are things that at every point of breach or attack, you have an incident response plan that is actively working, that you can use to respond to different kind of attack, different type of threats that or vulnerabilities that are affecting your companies. So even as response of okay, security is not fully secured, you need your incident response plan actively working. You need your disaster recovery plan working perfectly fine also. You can go through maybe tabletop processes to test it, or even full test to test it and experiment and see if it's actually working. So at the point of attack, you don't try maybe trying it at the point of attack or trying this particular or different kind of incident response plan at the point of an attack. It is not safe and it's not better to be done that way. So moving on from there, we talk about how to prevent this IT negligence. And like I've been saying oftentimes, we humans, we being the weakest links, it means that you have to well train everybody in your company. Everybody in your company, everybody that makes use of your network, they have to be well trained, which is number one, user awareness, regular training. There needs to be regular training for them to understand IT as a thing, as a process. Everybody's part of, and as long as you have any IoT device, be it phone, anyone, I think the smallest everybody probably has now in this thing is phone. From ranges from phone to laptops to desktop to smart TV to smart watches and so on and so forth. But be it the smallest most people have, which is phone, you need to go through some education, regular training, IT awareness training, which will help you better understand the aspect of protecting a network. And these are things that every company needs to take part in. You don't just put them in place and tell them, okay, work by yourself, do this by yourself, or find it by yourself. If you don't train these people, no matter what you put in place, it's not even in the security aspect only. Every other aspect of whatever you have in your company or your network, whosoever you put in place that is not well enlightened will not help you to manage it well. And life itself is a continuous process, and life is not a product also. And there's no company that wants to be just a product that they will end in just one thing they are doing. They want to always advance, which is a process. In advancing, you have to enlighten and train your staff, and also in the most little way you can do, train your customers too. Most of all of these banks, they do some kind of, I think OPay at some point 2 3 months ago, when there was this kind of OPay phishing attack going on, when people were receiving emails and things about their OPay account and so on and so forth like that. OPay had to do some security training for their customers, sending those emails to tell them how to verify their own email and then not to reply or respond to different kind of emails they might receive from different people. They should always verify and confirm where it is coming from. Because people that are not, or maybe receiving an account balance from a bank you didn't even bank with. So these are things that we experience most often. So some banks take their own time to also enlighten and train their customers too, not limiting to just their staffs. Because whatever affects your customer is also part of you as a company. Your customer is also part of you as a company too. You don't just maybe neglect that aspect of your customers. And moving on from there, patch management in IT is a very important thing. Even as human, if you have to stay updated as human with recent trends in life, why not your network also? If humans want to stay updated about life happenings, why not stay updated with your IT, with the internet too, with internet technology? So you have to stay updated with these things also. Like I've said, if you make use of at least your phone network, a phone is also a part of IoT devices, and this means you have to stay updated, update your softwares. Mostly these banks and every financial software you might have on your phone or your gadgets, it needs to be updated. Even softwares for phone are being updated now. We've moved, there are different kind of, I think for encryption with Wi-Fi, we've moved from WEP to WPA1, WPA2. These are things like, imagine somebody using WEP as his Wi-Fi protected access now. How is it going to be like? So this is like one of the things about staying updated and staying current with the recent trends, even in IT, not only about life as it's happening. And next is about having strict access control. One of the most important foundations in cybersecurity is the CIA triad: the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability. So this takes a very long process And at the point whereby any one of these things are missing, everything is messed up. Confidentiality not being in place and then things being open to everybody, that is even authorized and unauthorized user, they can access everything that pertains to your company. This is not, it does not give your company quality or any reputation. And on integrity aspects, if it's not trustworthy enough, if these things are not real or that they are not as it should be, it does not give your company any reputation or you as a person any reputation. And at the point of availability, if it's not getting, if I don't get whenever I need it for use, it's not valuable. I know most banks at some point, I think Access Bank in Nigeria here also, people have always complained that whenever they want to make transactions, try to log into their banks and then they will see service not available and things like that. These are part of these things that we go through. So at the point of me as a bank user, I want to make transactions with my bank, I have to make a payment, and I need this thing to make payments with it, and then it is not available for me to make it of it at that particular point in time. This is a problem too. This is also a problem, but on this strict access and strict access control, it talks about confidentiality. Whosoever should not have access to some particular things or unauthorized users should not have access to that particular thing. We have different system of that. We have role-based access control. We have rule-based. We have mandatory based, and we have discretionary based. This should be used in, I think, for most companies, they're a mixture of role-based access control. So there should be a limit to what anybody can see or what everybody can use, even with user access to acceptable use policy. Sorry, this should be put in place in our companies, in our organization, in our networks. Everything should not be open to everybody just like that. It's not a marketplace. Even in marketplace, they have like sheets and like sheets they put in place or like their stands to separate them from the others. So there's nothing that has a free access to everybody that has quality. So a very good access control, a very strict one at that will help you to be well and better secured. And also using of logging and monitoring system like SIM, we have Splunk, we have ELK Stack, we have Wazoo and the likes. So companies should also try to advance into using these things because this particular software they help you to log in everything everybody does in your company 24 hours round the clock. With the right setup, all of these softwares helps you to well monitor everything that goes on in your network around the clock. So you have to learn how to make use of these particular softwares or tools in your company and configure it to receive logs from every system, by which in your network, everything that has been done by every person can be well monitored. You can also configure it to also stop things like maybe failed passwords after like 3 trials. You can also receive alerts from this particular type of softwares. So I think even all companies need a SOC analyst in place at every point in time. The Security Operational Center being in place to help you monitor these logs and watch it as it goes in and out and see at the point of any disaster or problem to help you to respond to it first. And lastly, regular auditing. Every step, every process, everything that is done, every update, there's all called change management also. All of these things should be well audited. At the point of any kind of change, you have to well audit everything that happens, both in physical aspect as hard copy or soft copy. This needs to be audited. So at any point of reference or record, you can go back to it and see whatsoever happened at that particular point in time. And in rounding up, also we talk about preventing this also. We talked about so many of it, and then mitigation techniques should be put in place, which is a continuous process, like I've said. Cyber security is not a product, it is a process. So in mitigating this item negligence, you have to put these mitigating steps of monitoring these things in place. You have to well manage it and then addressing these things quickly and then diligently. Don't just leave anything by negligence and say it is not serious, it is small, it might not cause anything. The smallest can lead to the biggest, and the biggest cannot even lead to anything at the point of it. That will cause CVE, common vulnerability exposure. So the common vulnerability exposure, the part that is well exposed in your company, you might feel like this is where they might come from. They might come from the smallest thing and then attack the whole thing and mess the whole thing up. So continually, you try to always get in touch with your security staffs in your company, be it from the IT space or the physical space. Because even for database system or for servers in companies, your server room needs to be well secured than every other place in your company. Can't use normal doors for your server room or just normal this door. You can use as much as multi-factor authentication to open your server rooms. because there's a whole lot that can be messed up just with that particular room being breached. So that's like a physical security that can be put in place. You can also use CCTV around your companies. You can use TOSA, you can use barricades, you can use things like that in place. So in cybersecurity, it's not only about the cyberspace. It starts from physical. Physical can affect the cyber. Cyber can affect the physical also. So it's vis-a-vis. This thing is like a continuous thing. So and in conclusion, we all know the importance of IT intelligence and then how it causes so many things like losses in our company, the impacts and how far it has gone over time, and how well we can better address this situation. And as human beings, we should well address ourselves as persons and how we use the internet. If something seems like it is wrong, there must be a problem. It is wrong also. You don't just jump on things on the internet like that. You have to well protect yourself. There has to be a mindset of security in your instinct. If something feels like it is wrong, then it is wrong. Don't try to maybe try and see your luck. Protect before you try it out and see. Don't jump on it just like that. And if humans are protecting themselves, they can well advance it to their companies or to people around them, and so on and so forth. We can have a better and a safer space for everyone to work with. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. DJ. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the lovely presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. DJ. Thank you so much. So please, everyone, if you have any question, oh, you can hack. Please, sorry, a note. Please, there's something that happened. Please, I just want to get it across to you guys. Um, to you guys. Um, Two of our speakers are not currently available. So what we want to do now is that we're going to we're going to we are going to have a second phase for this webinar. Yeah, which going to take place in the evening. Yeah, so it's not compulsory that you must attend. If you're available, fine. You can attend. But the second phase is for um just for the other speaker, to also come on board and share their experience, their knowledge on how the topic, feel, to them. So so please, for those that still want to join the second phase, like I said, you can join, but it's not compulsory. It's not something that okay, you must attend. Yeah. So please, if you have any question, for those available right now, if you have any question, you can ask any question you feel that you want to ask regarding the topic, and regarding to what the two speakers have said so far, you can ask so that they can either throw more light or give you a reference or maybe give you a direct answer to your question. So you can go ahead, anyone. Oh, is there any question? Oh, any question? Any question? Yeah. Any question? If you have any question, please you can ask question. Please, if you have any question regarding to what the two speakers have said so far, you can ask. Okay, if there's no question, if there's no question, so we're going to be rounding up. So before we round up, so um, I would love to just contribute a little part. So as I said from the beginning, that this topic is a very lovely topic. You start, and for those that are yet to start, their job in cybersecurity. I know some of you have started your career in cybersecurity, but not yet. in the field, in the job field. So, when you get to the job field, you know the importance of this topic very well. Aside giving, doing the normal training, the normal cybersecurity training, ethical hacking, SOC analysis, how to detect, all those ones are just normal skill set that you must have. But there are some core important part that's very, very important. You understand? There's a very, very cool important part which is very, very, very crucial, which is one of this topic that we treated today. So yeah, so just a little contribution. This topic is a very lovely one. Like I said, is a lovely one. So let me just give a brief example, just my personal experience. Okay, sometimes when I was working in my previous organization, we actually did a phishing test, a social engineer assessment, because it's actually part of my task. So there's a company where we actually undergo a social engineering test personally. Yeah, so we actually did that. So let me say for example, um, we are meant to carry out the phishing test. Let me say next week. You understand? And and let me say this week, the organization do their own personal social engineering awareness for their staffs. They did everything, try to expose their staff to some techniques, tactics, method, tools where all those bad guys can use, in compromising them and gain unauthorized access into their privacy, either the company information or their system or the entire network. So the following week, we carry out the phishing test, social engineering assessment. Unfortunately, most of those staff fall for the phishing test. So when the IT manager was like, wow, what is this? This is very, very crazy. Because he was angry that, well, we did phishing tests, social engineering awareness for this staff a week before you guys came in, a week before you pushed the phishing assessments. They were like, no, 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 no. They need to be, blah, 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 blah. But, if you take a look at all these things, it's beyond just the awareness sometimes. You start. Even before we carry out the phishing test, I was in the environment. I was engaging what what with the staffs. We're just engaging, but they never knew what I was there to do. You start. But we're just engaging as a, that okay, as an IT um or as an IT expert, external IT expert, just come and do one or two stuff. They were engaging about life. That, but through the engagement, I was able to discover that some of them were not happy. You understand? So they actually, because from there we're talking about the general issues, Nigeria issues, economy issues, and I discovered that 95% of them that we're discussing that conversation needed money. You can see right now. They needed money to solve a lot of things. They have personal problems, they have personal issues that they are facing. So from the conversation, I was able to grab what I can use, you understand, to deceive them to carry out the phishing text. So which was salary increment. So the salary increment was actually the method, the text that I actually used towards to perform the social engineering assessment. At the end of the day, 90% of them fell for the test. You understand? At a norms, you understand, in a web formal way, in a standard way, they should not have fall for the test. You understand? But if we look at what in another way entirely, you get it's something beyond just the normal organization structure. Okay, these are the training is given to them, no blah blah blah. They have some personal issues. They have some things that is bothering them. You understand? It might be an internal issue, it might be an external issue, maybe from home. You understand? So all those things come together to form what? To form issues, flops in the systems. You understand? And the reason why this topic was actually brought up is because so that at the end of the day, because you don't know where you might find yourself, you might be a leader, or probably you might find yourself in an environment where you need to address a critical issues, where you need to point out that okay, these are the things. Okay, it's just like someone that is not feeling fine, and you are still putting work on the person that you must get this work done. It's not you can't expect the person to be productive. You understand? You can't expect the person not to make flops. Someone that is not feeling fine, is not feeling well, and you expect the person to give a quality job. He's not going to give a quality job. You can't expect someone that 90% resources are not given to him or her. It's not going to be possible. You can't expect someone that he has never or is yet to undergo quality training to understand how what is working on works. You understand? To perform very well, not to make mistakes. So there are some minor mistakes, there are some petty mistakes that if we take a look at it, it comes from the structure, not just one, just the general structure. So the impact of a high team negligences can come in different form. It can come in different form. Sometimes it might be management, sometimes it might be individual, sometimes it might be the structure. You understand? So it can come in different form. But the ability for you to understand every word, every instances that can lead to this, is what matters. So that at every point you can always tend to what? Only tend to address everything in a proper way. Okay, now let me take you guys back to the crash strike issue that happened. Yeah. So everybody were actually, coming out, put a lot of, blame, a lot of, throwing a lot of waters. Everybody were, the issue was crazy this time because it's a global issue. It's a global issue, and and some companies, lost a lot of millions of naira, millions of dollars, a lot of money due to that outbreak. This time, and if you go more research online, there's actually one thing I sent on the group when the former software engineer came out. The guy came out, the former software engineer and one of the other team also, they came out. They came out online. They said it. They said the issue has not. Now they said the issue did not started when that outbreak happened. He said the issue has started since. It has been there since. So meaning that the outbreak did not just happen due to that error that they made. They have been making that error since. And the software engineer said that they have been addressing all these things since towards to the management, such as adequate training, such as um the welfare, and also what the structure, the processes that they are using in what in either developing or testing. It's just like there's actually a particular day when I actually experienced something, dealing with someone, and the person was like, okay, you have to do it in this way. And I was like, you are not meant to do it in this way. If you do it this way, you won't get the result that you needed. This is the way you are meant to do it. This is the way you can get. Person like, okay, you have to do it. So sometimes if the process, the structure, everything is not in line, there will always be a problem. There will always be what a a wide negligence. So that's why that we all need to have a clear understanding about all these things. So that at the end of the day, because you can't know um you can wake up in the morning and you can find yourself in a management position where you can make decisions, you can do some all those things, and they will actually ask you that how can you make sure that this kind of issues do not happen? How are you going to address it? You understand? So from there you'll be able to give a quality, sample, a quality solutions towards it. You understand? So just like what happened, what is actually going on Twitter right now. If you look at Twitter right now, you see a lot of issues regarding to banks. You understand? You see many people coming online and they're like, he's on Twitter. Just go to Twitter. You see one man, Adedeji, something like that. People were coming out about contract staff. They're coming out saying a lot of things. People were saying that, okay, that salary, stuff like that, that the benefit, they were coming out. But at the knob, if the man did not came out to actually speak out for the people, you see people laughing. You see people, doing their normal way. You feel that they are happy, but yeah, they are not happy. You understand? So that is it. Yeah. So everything needs to be addressed. You understand? Everything needs to be addressed. Everything needs to be addressed. You understand? From the welfare, from the training, from the expertise, also expertise of what of the people as well too. How sound are they? Are they experts in that field? You understand? How well are they? What are they putting more effort in it as well? So aside the welfare, that is very very important to make sure that the staff are taking straight, they're doing the normal thing. They're happy. Because once you are happy on what you are doing, you will definitely come out good and great in it, no matter how you start. So that's the reason why that we put out this topic, to touch every aspect so that at the end of the day, you can gain knowledge and see and address issues in in different branches. You can't just say, okay, malware attack happened, it compromised the system. How does it happen? You understand? What leads to that malware attack to happen? You get, but when you start looking at it, you start say, okay, it's an attack that come from outside, phishing mail, you know, what's that scripting, all those things. You get, but there's somebody there that is monitoring all those things. There's somebody there that has been put in place. So everything needs to be addressed from the technology perspective, from the people perspective, from the policy perspective. But the most important one that hold the other two components are the people. Because the people serve as what? As the one that will drive technology and the policy and the process. So if the people are what are not that, giving everything that is needed, the technology and the process is going to be what totally, you know, or it will fail. At some point, it will fail. So that's much, guys. Thank you so
Hello?
much. If you still have any question, please. Oh,
Hello?
hello, Mr.
Sorry,
Charles.
I wanted to add up to something. I wanted to add up to what you said, Mr. Aki.
Okay, sir.
I wouldn't want to
Okay, so you
take
can go
much
ahead,
of
sir.
your time and time of other people. You know, what you said is actually true, because this topic, from every perspective, you can pick up issues from policy,
Hmm.
because um, you can also pick up issue from it. From people, you can pick up issue from it. From technology, you can pick up issue from it. I agree with you when you said the mistake is actually can be looked into the structure of the management, because before I decided to talk on this webinar, I had talked to some cybersecurity analysts and also some tech experts as well in the business. And most of them, when you ask them this question, they will tell you that they are ready to work, but the issue is that when it comes to decision making, most of the management, those who are in opportunity to take critical decisions, they just find a way to just not to go through the
Hmm.
process of giving them the spotlight of those decisions they request to be amended. Like, for instance, if you meet someone who is in the head of office and then you want to ask him and say, these are the issues in the office, these are the steps on which you would go further for to resolve the issues, they will tell you they want to save costs.
Hmm.
I've discussed with bankers, I've discussed with tech network engineers, and they will tell you that everything that they keep hearing as feedback is always saving cost, saving cost. The tech industry is one of the biggest industry in Nigeria, and to be honest with you, every organization is always trying as much as possible to be in front end of technology. All the banks
Hmm.
are doing it. And that's why they're integrating security measures, because the second speaker that spoke after me said a lot of things. And these things he said regarding to policy and technology are what the DMBs or the deposit money banks are doing. They are doing that. Why do we have to today that we see that some IT staff in some banks are leaving? Why are they leaving? Let me give you an insight of my experience I had. I was
Hmm.
fortunate to
Yeah.
also run a phishing test with you as well in an organization. And then before running that phishing test, what gave me the aspect to draw a pathway towards that my test was when I interviewed most of the people in the organization. I asked them what is the issues they're actually having as a problem in the organization. You know what they said? They said training.
Wow.
They said training was an issue. One. Another person also said welfare. So
Hmm.
it gave me a path to run a simulated fish on that part. And guess what? When I did that, a lot of people fell for it because everybody is expecting that, oh yes, actually management is able to give them
To
training.
do something.
I'm telling you, I'm not lying to this thing. I'm telling you, it's clear fact.
Wow.
Even some that had issue with promotion, they fell for it. Why? Because when you
Hmm.
call in the HR in the phishing text, everybody will think it's a legitimate mail from HR.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and again, this is just one aspect of it. Coming to another aspect where you have some tools. Okay, let's, for instance, now the attack that happened in GT Bank. I don't want to actually bring the bank into it anyways, but we all know what happened where they were trying to renew their domain. Why will we wait? Why should we wait before a domain expires, before we renew? Why should we
Expired.
wait? Why should we wait?
Hmm.
Anybody who has access to buy a domain before you renew has the full admin privilege of the domain. Why
Hmm.
do we wait?
Hmm.
I've worked with an organization where we are working with them. All of a sudden, their domain page I just gave a detailed 3 days ultimatum before it expired. They waited. After the 5th day, they
Wow.
had to renew. Is that not an embarrassing experience? If I'm a hacker, it's just that, one thing with this cyber security and the topic being IT negligence, thing negligence, is because it's very difficult for we cybersecurity analysts to, most of us that are actually having the integrity, most of us know why we are in the course. And that's why we are actually on the positive side of the field. We have people who have moved from the positive side to the negative side. And then they tell you that there is actually no need for them to show the need to work in an environment that is actually not giving them what they want. You want me to perform? Yes, I will perform. But where are the tools? Yes, we have policies. Would you tell me that all the commercial banks in Nigeria don't have policies? They make policies every day. I'm telling you, policies that's why we have what they call the cyber security policies. It's being innovated every day. Even when it comes to you not using what they call IoT devices, policies like that are being enhanced every day. You understand? So policy is not a problem. I don't see policy as a problem in the field of study. But the issue is the people, because to be honest with you, people are the weakest link. You would want to innovate your technology, you would want to create good policies. But if you don't carry your people along, I also had somebody who told me in the past that there will be some training for them to go, and all of a sudden you will see that one or two people will just take it, and people who are going for training are not even doing the job. When it comes to them doing the job, they will now call people who are allocated to that office to do the job. Guess what? They tell them, okay, how do you resolve? They tell them, go and watch YouTube videos. YouTube videos. I'm serious. Yes, YouTube video is good anyways for personal improvement. But when it comes to using critical tools, you understand, there are some parts you will be like, you need to have a first-hand experience with physical training. You understand? So to me, I feel there is need for we individuals to understand that even if we try to put in tools and we put in policies, if we don't carry the people along, obviously, why do we see people leaving most of the IT fields or most of the organization in Nigeria? People are switching jobs. Will you tell them? In fact, those people who are switching jobs are even positive people. There are people who will not even switch jobs. They will. My friend called me last week. He told me where he was working, they were not paying him well, and they were expecting him to perform 100% efficient in the job. He has somebody in the organization, although he left the place, he has someone in the organization who found that it was a bank in Canada, found out a loophole in what they call it, in running transaction for loans. Do you know what this guy did? This guy manipulated the system. You will run your loans, the loan will be given by the bank, and then a percentage will be deducted and given to the individual, and then shared to the person who initiated the loan for the user. So two people are gaining interest from a loan. And they never knew this glitch until this guy left the organization, and then they discovered it.
Wow.
It's also part of negligence. So this topic just cut across a lot of aspects, but the main important is that people must be carried along. People must be carried along. If people are not carried along with technology, if people are not carried along with policies, why do you expect me to perform 100% efficiency on the job? You may decide on your own to do the needful, but how long will you keep on doing the needful? Yes, the company will allow you to be trained. You also train yourself, which is important. But a situation where you work in a company for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you're not going for training. The company have a very good a good budget when it comes to implementation of technology. Everybody wants to use the recent technology in its implementation of solving issues, be it IT, be it cybersecurity field of play. But the main important is that we don't carry people along. What do you expect them to do? They will be with you in the job, and at the end of the day, what will happen? If there's a way for them to, find a way to compromise, then they will. They will. There are organizations, I won't speak of name, where they actually, are doing their job. All of them, they found out that they are not being paid. They started leaking secrets. They started leaking secrets to the public domain. And as they're leaking the secrets, there is no way you can even bridge the gap of knowing where the information is coming from. Why? Because the people are agitating. That is also part of negligence. They're also agitating. So it's a balance, is a topic that is actually balanced, but it gives an insight from every perspective. Even there are even people who eventually they will go for training at the end of the day. They just don't want to even perform when it comes to playing their role to solve problems or to perform in the organization where they are being employed. It's still part of a reason. The management will give them every tool they need. Management will give them every training they need, but they will not still perform. It's also negligence. We always in IT, I find it so amazing when we always talk about implementing policies. We always talk about implementing technology. We are always going towards, and that's one of the issues most of these top managements are always having when it comes, because they may not believe it, they will believe it too. They will say, okay, our staffs are actually not not in good alignment with technology, but we believe the technology more than we believe the staff. That's what is in their head. They feel that because now the field of cybersecurity is AI driven now. Most of the things we do now based on the tools because the second speaker also spoke on most of the tools regarding to implementation of being safe in the cyberspace. Imagine, okay, let me give you an example. Tools like, let's say, Arcside, tools like Darktrace, tools like Chronicles or whatever, or Qualys, most of them use artificial intelligence, most of them use AI driven. So it gives that privilege that once management implements it, they feel that they believe the tool more than the individuals who are using the tool to run their investigation and also run a good run good investigation when issues arise, especially when it comes to incident response plan. You understand what I'm saying? So there should be a balance. One, people should be in line with training. Two, technology should be implemented and it should be updated technology. We can't be talking about 2024 technology and then we are going backward. And that's why most of the hacks that are happening now is based on patches that have not been done. And just like the second speaker spoke regarding to patch committees should be created to look into issues like that. Is also one of it. So same thing with policies. You understand? So there should be a bridge towards all these things. More like a breaking, not quite a breaking, but more like a threshold point or so. Baseline, more like a baseline here. You understand? So people should be placed in training, and these are people that should devote themselves to work, because management will not want to seek training and then give it to you, and then you will not perform when it comes for you to implement what you have been taught. And you should be able to move with technology. And again, policy should be driven, and policies should be also be on an innovation scale. If you say something today, although you want to tightening, the beauty about cybersecurity policies is that you want to tightening the policies to make it too rigid, whereby if there is need for you to have a little bit backdoor, it will be difficult for you. Yes, the admin is always the sole owner of all this policy, but when it comes to some issues that may come up, you want to have a bridge or a balance of it. Obviously, that should be also be looked into consideration. So these three things I just made mention are the perfect way in resolving these issues, And I feel if we analysts or we those in the field grow up towards that level, we would know the best way to make sure that most of all these issues coming up, hacking happening, data breaches happening, compromising of data, credentials leakage, most of all these issues happening, phishing, spear phishing, all these issues would not be a problem. And then would find a way to integrate most of the knowledge we have and the experience and resolving it, and making the organization where you work to be an organization where people would want to run business. Because if an organization is actually has failed in each of his own policies, or has failed in making people know how credible they are, nobody want to do business with such organization, because everybody is going in for the name. If the name has casted, is known for this attack, or is known for that breach, or is known for funds to be leaving every 2 or 3 quarters, obviously nobody will want to run business with such organization. So I think this is all I have to say before we can call it a day. Thank you.
Wow, this is a very amazing one, Mr. Charles. Well, thank you so much for sharing that lovely experience, Mr. Charles. That's a very, very good one, sir. You actually made a lot of valid points. you you made a lot of valid points, extremely valid points. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. Thank you so much, Mr. Deji. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So please, if you still have any question, please uh you can ask. If you have any question that you want to ask, please you can ask. Okay. If there's no question, okay, they'll be recording. I'm going to send the recording across. So um like I said, by 6 p.m. there will be a second phase for the remaining speaker to to share their own idea and experience as well too. So it's not compulsory. If you're available to join, fine. But if you're not available to join, there is no problem. I will only send the recording across. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the attendees. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the speakers. We're very grateful for the deep knowledge. And for those that, like I said, for those that are just starting career in cybersecurity, yet to work, like I said, just keep on with it, keep on with your with your learning, put your put on the effort, be determined for moving, know what you want, follow the normal steps, you stand and this type of section is just to expose you to a lot of things, a lot of challenges, that you might encounter, and how are you going to, you know, face these challenges? How are you going to what solve these challenges? How are you going to chase this challenge? You start. So because every every rough road, there's always what a smooth road. You start. So it's not something that it might be smooth to some, it might not be smooth to some, but at the end of the day, there will always be a what a center midpoint where you will always tend to what always tend to keep on moving in that smooth path you start. So thank you guys. If you have any question, you can always drop it in the group. You can always send direct question to respond to you. Yeah. So thank you very much and enjoy the remaining rest of your day. And thank you guys. And also once again the speaker, thank you everyone. Thank you the speaker for creating time. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Yeah. Okay. So bye for now, everyone.